The Palm Beach County School Board has approved new guidelines for quarantining students. Those new guidelines signed by the state's new Surgeon General just one day after he was given his new title.
The new rules now prohibit schools from forcing students to quarantine if they've been exposed to someone with COVID, instead leaving it up to parents. It was one of the big issues debated at tonight's Palm Beach County School Board meeting. That meeting, by the way, just ended, and that's where we find our Lily Ortiz. And Lily, we understand not every school board member is on board.
Yeah, Jim, 2 school board members disagreed on this new guidelines. They say that it's bad for public health. But again, in a 5-2 vote, school board members agree that the quarantine should be optional for those children who've been exposed to COVID-19, but they are showing no signs of any symptoms related to COVID-19. But this comes after an hours-long evening of debate and hearing public comments from very emotional parents and some young elementary school students who all agreed on the same thing: the power to decide, not the school district. In his first full day on the job, Florida's controversial new Surgeon General began by issuing an emergency rule Wednesday, leaving it up to the parents, not school districts, to decide if their children exposed to COVID should go back to school if they're not showing any symptoms. Another hot topic, and it does not change the state's ban against mask mandates, but the Surgeon General reiterates a previous order allowing parents to opt their children out from wearing masks. It's mandated in Palm Beach County. This major announcement is causing an uproar at tonight's school board meeting, a war of words from parents, even elementary school students, who say they are tired of their leadership and just want the option to decide.
This poor little 7-year-old girl has not been in school for 2 weeks. How do you go to bed at night? I can't even see Mr. Burke. Look at her. Look at her.
Your power-hungry dictatorship has gotten out of control.
This is not okay. This is child abuse, and you're orchestrating it.
At one point, school leaders were called bullies for the unnecessary panic after they say a member was seen at a party at the Breakers without masks on.
The reason why you do not have respect from the people you serve is because you have not earned it.
It is not fair that I'm getting punished because you guys, the school board, are not following the law. That is not fair. It just isn't right. I'm still going to stand up for what I believe in.
The old stay-at-home rules requires at least 4 days of quarantine, followed by a negative COVID-19 test, or a 7-day quarantine without a test before an asymptomatic student returns to campus. Dr. Joseph Ladapo's rules echoes the governor's focus on parental rights. Thousands of students in our area and across the state have missed school in the first months of classes due to COVID exposure. Now, another important vote here tonight. School board members approved a plan to expand COVID-19 testings for asymptomatic students. Now, they didn't really lay out the plans and how they're going to do this and when they're going to implement this plan. But we did speak to a school board member and a spokesperson here, and they said that they're going to send a letter to parents with all the new updates as soon as tomorrow.
Effective today, students who have been in close contact with someone who has COVID will no longer have to quarantine at home as long as they have no symptoms.
That, according to a new emergency rule signed by Florida's new Surgeon General. CBS 12's Andrew Lofholm is live outside Palm Beach County School District headquarters, where tonight's board meeting is just getting underway. Andrew?
Governor DeSantis has made it clear where he stands when it comes to COVID in schools, that it should be up to parents to decide what's best for the child's health. Unless you're a parent who thinks that kids exposed to COVID ought to stay home so that they don't get your child sick at school. Now, before this new rule came down earlier today, unvaccinated students who have had close contact with someone who's had COVID would have to quarantine. Even vaccinated or recently recovered students would have to stay home if they reported any symptoms. In Palm Beach County, there are thousands of kids quarantining right now. But going forward, under this new rule, as long as the student isn't showing any symptoms, parents can send them to school as normal. A topic that will no doubt dominate the public comment period of tonight's board meeting. Before she went in, I asked board member Alexandria Ayala about the new rule. Where does a parent have a say in a situation like this?
And I understand that, but we also have parents that have taken all the steps to protect themselves, their families, and their children throughout this pandemic. And so the risk of having a student who possibly could be spreading COVID-19, it's too much for us to say this is a situation we have to be okay with. I think that the board is going to have really robust discussion tonight on what this means for how we move forward. But at the end of the day, we have 170,000 students to protect, and we have to look out for the greater good and the greater safety.
The school board has already shown a willingness to defy orders from Tallahassee. They already do it with their mask mandate because they do not offer a parental opt-out. The question is, will they do it with this new rule? Now, one of the things they're considering is a test to stay option, where somebody who's had a close contact will be given a rapid test before school for a week. If they test negative, they could go to school. If they test positive, they're going to be sent home, something that potentially we'll learn more about tonight and in the coming days and weeks. This meeting tonight is expected to be another marathon, as they've recently been, as there's expected to be more than 4 hours of public comment.
A Florida lawmaker now unveiling a Texas-style abortion ban today. The bill filed for the upcoming legislative session would prohibit abortions after so-called fetal heartbeat is detected here in Florida. State Democrats already discussing how to stop that bill, while Republicans are not all in agreement. R.J. O'Brien has the latest on this legislative clash that this bill is sure to bring. Jay?
Yeah, Jim, we are watching a battle brewing in real time between Democrats and Republicans here in the state of Florida over abortion. Providers say that if this Texas-style bill were to get all the way through, it would drastically limit, almost wipe out, the access that women would have to that procedure. So opponents of this bill are now vowing to fight tooth and nail. The day abortion providers like Alexa Lane and Presidential Women's Center knew was coming.
People need to wake up. The people that think that this can't happen in Florida, it is happening.
The unveiling of a proposed abortion ban filed by Republican State Representative Webster Barnaby, whole parts of it ripped from Texas's new abortion law. The bill prohibits most abortions after a so-called fetal heartbeat is detected, something medical experts dispute, which comes before most women know they're pregnant.
It would mean that we couldn't provide services.
You'd have to shut down.
That's what happened in Texas.
And that's what would happen here?
Yes, most likely.
But the bill has a rocky future. Democrats like State Senator Tina Polsky already readying for a long legislative brawl.
How big of a legislative fight are we talking about here?
The biggest that I've seen since this will be my 4th year. It's everything.
State Republicans continuing to signal they'll welcome an anti-abortion bill.
But anything that we can do, even if it saves one life, that's why I signed up for this job.
The House will come to order. But not everyone's committed to this version. The Speaker of the Florida House releasing a statement vowing to review this abortion bill and any others, calling on Representatives Aaron Grahl and Colleen Burton to spearhead the issue, not Representative Barnaby.
It's a misdirection.
Peter Schorsch, publisher of the website Florida Politics, believes lawmakers will take up an abortion ban this session. Just maybe not this one.
This is not the bill that is going to eventually be taken up and debated by the legislature.
Now, this Florida bill does have exceptions for rape, incest, and health of the mother. It also has a provision that empowers citizens to bring civil lawsuits against anyone who were to violate this proposed law. Texas's law has that exact same provision, and you might remember it was a serious sticking point at the U.S. Supreme Court.